Sheila here with Sirius Talis Moon Venus hour, and the moon is applying to square Pluto. This is some broadcasting I have for people that are also targeted for human experiments without their consent, whether it is MK Afton, MK Ultra, or similar projects. Those are all to do with Epstein-like rings and so first of all, I want you to understand what the reason that you are being targeted is not because you're lazy, you don't want to work, you're crazy or criminal. No. By the way, this is also true to people that, I mean, I came from academia, other people may have come from other walks of life. The reason people are being targeted is, first of all, by their blood type. I don't know why do they pick the people or what do they think about people, but they try to get a person to be blood tested, whether by blood donation or accident or downright kidnapping them to a hospital. And um, so the reason you're being targeted is because they want some attributes that you have. Now, it can be practiced attributes, which means if you're either academic or researcher, your research, even unbeknownst to you, I was looking into the body-mind question in the medicines and the politics of the senses, the mining project in Sweden and the welfare state and the housing crisis in Sweden. Um, as a part of my first and second degree, and I don't remember what was I doing in linguistics because I don't know if there was something from linguistics that they also found interesting. But if we are up to something that they do in a way that targets individuals to loot their wealth, their job opportunities, their housing, it's an economic hitmanship, or to depopulate, um, then and they target civilians. Okay, they don't. It's not about the terror is created by these projects, by torture, and so if our research basically touches on those fields, they want control on those fields, and so for many of you, you simply had, scientific. It might not even been a scientific discovery, but you were just in tune with the truth. For example, when I was in tune that classified technology turned something from pseudoscience to scientific convention, immediate call is to declassify classified technologies. Before I would even think about that, I was literally tortured, kidnapped, attempts to traffic me in academia um, for a decade long, no matter what I tried. I tried to learn aromatherapy. I tried to um, give astrology, consultations one on one of the things that I learned in astrology. I was trying to recover, but and those were horrible things. They caused homelessness um, and this is where even the people that are the targeting, many of them were tortured. So they come to those projects with many, through many things, and they're supposed to use help to abuse or to sacrifice, and some of them work as capos. So I really don't know if it's really a very intricate human condition. That being said, their subject. Shout out to Knitting Cult Lady. Cults want the labor of people, and they want the sexual energy. They want the life energy of people because they try to siphon what the talents that people have. Now, my astrology, here's the thing, because when I did astrology, I did spirit of matter, and I was just looking at, let's say, the Wikipedia article of someone and seeing the actual, trying to delineate what would be the astrology, and lo and behold, that was showing up in their natal chart. So All of these practices of trying to siphon energy and so on and so forth are useless. They are just to make people think that the artistic endeavor doesn't come from them, or that they don't have something in their destiny. Well, in fact, it is ritual abuse upon nature. So it's a ritual abuse upon the chart. So for many of you, you were targeted because you have value, not because you don't. Okay. Um, they know that people. How should I say that? They know that people know that it's their life energy that they need to retrieve, and here's another thing, also going to be useful for people that were sex trafficked. Um, the uh, the wealth, abundance, and health and survival based needs are in the root chakra. So they raped you to make you poor. It's not something, sex is not something one can trade without losing either their sense of self, their soul, becoming addicted, or literally not enjoying their lives. Okay, or that they would become in themselves unable to enjoy pleasure. And shout out to Seizure Girl, because um, I immediately knew that I instinctively knew that those things are trafficking, but I thought that it's because of my sexuality. I didn't understand that this is basically they try to siphon the life energy, and it's a form of enslavement, and they try to make a person believe that their abundance and their attributes come from the outside, which is wrong. um, our attributes come from us. Nobody has any way, any right over us. Any training procedure that doesn't honor our own energy and sovereignty is basically molesting us and harms our success. It doesn't create our success. Okay? This is why when Mariah Carey left Tommy Mottola, she was even more successful. Even though he was such a big shot in the industry, because his so-called claiming to build her was basically harming the innate talent that she had. And she wanted out of that abuse, rightfully so. Another thing, acting against and requiring the compensation from. Okay, some people might come at you and say, oh, do you want us to stop this? It's going to cost you this and that. Now, naturally, if you're targeted, your ability to work is targeted, because they want to enslave people and you're not able to work. Ask them the question, um, give me the scientists that I'm supposed to murder, and the offices of MK Often provide the protection, and then I would loot that person that got money by targeting me, and I will be able to pay you dividends for helping us all to act against terror and trafficking, because those targeting projects are done to create terroristic activity. Okay? Understand the raison d'etre of these projects is to create terror. Attack the raison d'etre. They're funded by public money. That public money is your opportunities, is your welfare, is your housing first, independent of ability to work for unlimited time, is your protection against energy weapons, dark occult, any type of threats. Understand that Gladio operation was in the aftermath of the American looting the Nazi scientists at Paperclip, and they got mafia bosses to work as informants. Okay, because this weapon was worse than the mafia. This is why they're missing soldiers. They're missing. Um, okay, there are many things because those are military operations and they target civilians. Civilians have already been targeted. So by the time they have, let's say, army recruitment, and there's this problem in all frontiers, then people don't want to recruit because they want their rights, and they're already entitled to compensation as civilians from something as a military operation. Now, the when you understand this raison d'etat, you need this is where basic. Now, also you need to understand ethically attacking the scientists that perform these things and declassifying the classified project budget, because this is how you're gonna know this is the money that was funneled to target an individual and who got paid to target individuals and with what currencies. By basically attacking those people that are basically at the weapon trade. Okay, the targeting MK often is weapon attack of is a weapon company, is attacking civilians. And by attacking those that target civilians to try to traffic them, you prevent terror. Okay? Which means you prevent invasion, you prevent people further being trafficked, people being homeless, children being assassinated, um, and you take action against what happened with the Epstein list. Understand that you're entitled to lifelong compensation, not because you're entitled, but because they went through bringing people to their infantile state to get them to and torture them to get them to harm people. Also, the people that were targeting us, they were tortured. Okay? Now, to consistently attack those who come to target the individuals, that's the tending to it. And know that you're eligible to full diplomatic immunity because you're basically escaping human trafficking. and judges that are a part of that are committing crimes against humanity. So this is to all people that were targeted by these projects. If you were promised real estate, you will not have real estate. You will have to be a Mark Detru. And understand that the fact that you're entitled to housing independent of ability to work, recovery that is actually recovery, regulated nervous system, they have all the solutions for you to be a thriving, happy person, even if you went through trauma. And you should pay zero for anything, because the only way for you to pay would be to rape children. They made all other vocations basically impossible. The only way that you can work is only in the way where it supports your sovereignty. Otherwise, you lose your ability to work. I understood that because I lost my ability to work in the Israeli market sector because I'm very good at sales, but I'm unable to sell something that is either not a real and accurate sale, an actual deal, okay, it's not a scam deal, or that the product is not good, or that the conditions are scammy. And because of that, I found myself with unemployed. Then I went to academia. Okay, so every single a small essay that somebody gives me from a small course to do, I already will be targeted by that because I would do the actual science. And so my only hope for vocation is to reduce corruption, which is why I'm telling you, Gladio Operation, the aftermath of Paperclip, the American looted the Nazi scientists. Basically, they got mafia bosses in U.S. to be compliant, to be informants, because they weren't able to compete against the paperclip operations. Okay, that's what got the mafia. Then they had to become informants so not to go to jail. This is the moon, Mercury hour, but this is the moon's applying to square Pluto. Understand that you were framed and targeted because you have a value. For example, when I was targeted in the Me Too, I did not come and say, oh, that person did that and that to me, I just come and say, hey, he has a lot of things to express within himself. He made great contributions in his own field and so on and so forth. The only thing we need is that he would learn to whatever traumas he has that caused him to mistreat women that undermine his success. Okay? Pay attention. That got me further targeted because they wanted to collapse me to the rubric that they already began to manage of the Me Too. Because I wasn't caring about, oh, this person did that and that. I wasn't seeking vengeance. My life too important. I have what I have to give in a way that's actually supporting my sovereignty way too important. Okay, I'm not a vengeful person. If somebody was harming, even, let's say somebody was harassing me, I was like, wait a second, that person, I need to defend myself from that person. I need that to never happen again to anybody on earth. That being said, I'm not seeking vengeance. They were probably raped. What matters is love that is actually loving. All the money that they think they make by looting people is all going to be confiscated by the next one. The mafia made a lot of money at the Great Depression. The Americans looted the paperclip scientists. They got all of their thing, and they said, okay, now they're going to be informants. Now it was a humiliation ritual, because what's the worst thing with mafia? Snitching. What was the caveat of the mafia? That they did traffic women, and it was done by raping and torturing them, because they humiliated women and then said that that there is a woman with dignity and a woman that is whore. Because of that, they were a match to be looted by the Nazis. If they curate that, then they come, because we are scheduled during the 2060s. Neptune is going to square Pluto. Not going to be Gladio anymore. The Great Depression and Gladio was the entrance to the century of Pluto and Neptune sextiling. Okay, one of the pinnacle events. Of course, the Bolshevik Revolution. I don't know if the Bolshevik Revolution was the beginning of the sextile. And here is the thing, if honor and respect and dignity is important to you, don't be doing vocation that you're required to humiliate and torture a person until they are trafficked. And it got worse with Gladio. And basically what happened is that the paperclip scientists were causing the mafia to be informants. When the worst thing was in mafia was to snitch. To whom? To the intelligence. That was Gladio. Gladio did to the mafia what they were doing to the trafficked women. And they know that. This is why this war is about zero rape, zero slavery. Because rape is just a form of enslavement. That's the thing about that. Again, shout out to Knitting Cult Lady. She deals with that in the army. She was surviving the cult of, what was it, Children of God. She solved the cases where the training of the military causes them to rape, and then they already committed the war crimes. Okay? I was talking about the Zoombors in the IDF as a civilian. Oh, there we have it. There we have it. The exact square. What was the military coming up in the exact square? Co-presence of Mars on Dene-Balgedi. Mercury hour. Mercury in Pisces. I'm just waiting for the ruler of the ascendant to not be in the 12th house, but then I'll have Saturn in the 12th is relatively okay, so that I'll have that Mars Dene-Balgedi. Mars Dene-Balgedi talisman. Okay, now I want us to think and to, as much as we can, zero blame, zero shame, zero grudge. Solutions, changing structures. Okay, what we need is stable, solid sense of self to thrive, to enjoy life, all the solutions of recovery to be accessible for us. It's not just that we are entitled, it's not about ego. It's like, hey, that's what we need to solve the issue. The core issue is that they were looting the sense of self to try to bargain on and make people enslaved to be having somewhat regulated nervous system. The solution is that, hey, y'all folks got a solution for regulated nervous system. You need to have housing first. I need to have housing first. None of us need to be under ultimatums or extortion. And it's also the fundamentals of human rights, okay? How do we fund for human rights? Is no problems. Violation of human rights was made to try to enslave. Slavery is a bubble pop. Sovereign to sovereign economy is the only working economy. And the only working war strategy. Now, here is the thing. Your disability or your inability to work was manufactured by these experiments. לא יודעת. And this is where patient sovereignty comes about. The sovereignty is the healing, okay? With Neptune, we ask what is the healing. When Neptune was in Pisces, it was the sense of optimism. So people were, their sense of, their life energy was looted so that they will be depressed, so that they will buy drugs. While in fact, people believing in them and having reasoning to be optimistic was the healing itself. So for example, having opportunities or studies with Pisces, it was studies and growth. It's whatever entailed growth. So for people, let's say they never had a venue to do a degree, and so when they were able to do a degree, that was the healing. Okay, it was a Jupiter related. Now it is real estate related, it is army related, and it is zero rape related. Okay, a lot of people would encounter erectile dysfunction because they were sometimes by force addicted to porn. Okay, Saturn brings the implications, but that's the good thing because now there is ability to tend to that. Whether something is already broken, now we understand, okay, here's how to fix it. Real estate, a lot of real estate being looted by trafficking apartments. Now, for people to live somewhere, they will have to besiege these trafficking apartments, and they would need to prepare, they would need to think how many people could be buried there, and they would need a house for each one of them. So as a community, they will have to take care that each individual has housing in the community. Now, when they were framing the trafficked people, they can't rely on the government, because then them and their children will be trafficked to those things. I rest my shenanigans.